Hey, welcome back to Snap Decisions. This is part two of our conversation with Wally Ferriston, aka Cue Card Wally. Coming up, we're going to hear from Wally more stories behind the scenes on the set of Saturday Night Live and Seth Meyers. Here we go. You talked about making some of the guests and the hosts comfortable. Clearly that works because, man, reading about you and just listening to, I don't want to promote another podcast, but they're already number one. So what the hell? You know, the guys on Smartless, Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes and Will Arnett often reference you. And it's clear that some really big talent of all stripes just rely on you when they come on that show and have developed a comfort with you. Obviously, there's some experience there. There's some chemistry there. To what do you attribute your ability to kind of make those connections and make them feel comfortable?
It's, I guess doing it so long, I think, one of your questions, which was interesting, was how long did it take to get good at what you did? So I was naturally really good at holding the cards when I first started. I wasn't running anything. I was just a worker. And within 3 years, the guy that was running it left. And there were 3 or 4 people that had 4 years more experience than me. And they picked me to run the show because I was the coolest under pressure. And I could handle those pressure situations, making snap decisions very quickly without panicking. Can we get the changes done in time? Can we only do these amount of changes? Something like that. It probably took me 3 years to get comfortable running that show because I didn't trust anybody to do it, because now I'm responsible. So I think you guys have the situations where you're in charge and you're doing all the work, or you're doing supervising everything. You won't do it something without being involved with it, and then you get comfortable with your workers and you say, oh, they can do it. They're trained well, and then I can relax a little bit. So it took me about 3 years to get really good, and then when I got comfortable, then I could make the hosts comfortable. I think just by showing, hey, this is where I'm going to be on Saturday, and there's going to be a set over here, and you want to run cards, if it's a sketch that really hard, I'll come in your dressing room and run cards. Anything they want to make the experience better. So I had a good experience this summer with Ryan Reynolds. I did a commercial. They hired me to do a commercial with him in Toronto, and he didn't know I was coming. So they flew me out, put me up. They flew me out first class. It was really nice. And I got on set, and he walks by me, doesn't see me, and then I see him talking to the director, and then he runs over to me, and he was like, what the hell are you doing here? And I was like, I'm here. And he was like, Brian, the director, told me they had cue cards, and he was like, they told me, he's like, you won't believe who we got. And he told me, and he's like, when he said your name, he was like, I instantly relaxed. My body relaxed. I'm at ease, and I'm not worrying about anything for the rest of the shoot today. Just hearing my name made him relax and say,
That's awesome.
Oh, this is great. So yeah, I guess I have that appeal because I proved myself over the years. It's proving yourself and doing that right. But it was really nice to hear him say that and instantly relaxing people. That's why I did cards for Seth. When Seth started, I was only working 3 days a week, 21 weeks out of the year. I had a really nice life.
Good gig
a lot
there,
of time on. But when Seth started, I wanted him to relax and not worry about cue cards. I wanted to worry about the writing. That's why I took on that.
So obviously you're putting people at ease. Do you think you've done a bunch of writing? Do you think some of your writing chops have helped you with, timing and kind of being on the same page with a performer?
I think so. I think that's a really good point. I grew up in comedy. My brother writes comedy. My dad wanted to be a comedian. I really wanted to write comedy. I wanted to write funny movies. Yes, I think having a good sense of humor helped me understand the sketch and maybe write it differently and help them out. So yes, I think that having that sense of humor comes into play a lot,
So when you're filming both shows during a week, are you going up and down 30 Rock like back and forth the whole time, or
Thursday's the only day? Seth tapes Monday through Thursday, and SNL is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm there from 2 to 5. Nice cushy 3-hour day. Drive in hour, drive home hour. Thursday's the tougher one where I have Seth from 4 to 5. Well, SNL starts rehearsing at 3, and the studios are right next to each other on the same floor. So so it's really easy. So I'm just going back and forth wherever, Seth gets the preference because they're taping that day. And it's just rehearsal. But I'm going in there, and if it's a host I haven't met, I try to go talk to them and say, hey, this is, I'm doing Seth. I'll be here, in an hour or two. And they're like, okay, fine, go ahead. The ones that are nervous will be like, oh, you're coming back, right? Say, yeah, I'll be back. So yeah, it's a little bit of juggling on Thursday, but then Friday I'm there all day, and Saturday I'm all day doing stuff. When Amber Ruffin, if you guys ever watched that show, that used to tape Friday mornings. a rehearsal would start Friday morning. So that was a tougher one. I'd have to be in at like 8:30, which I hate mornings. Be in at 8:30, we tape at 1, and then we finish around 3, and then I'd have to go over for SNL rehearsal. So it was a long,
That's a long day. Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
between 2 shows on Thursday and 2 shows on Friday, and then Saturday. Yeah, it was long, but she's not taping any shows right now, so it's good.
And then you mentioned the Ryan Reynolds special.
Yeah.
You do pick up occasional things here and there too, just to kind of stay busy in the off season, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, when the strike was going, I was a commercial, so I could still do that. I mean, I used to do that a lot when I was first starting out, or when I was starting out with my company and I was younger, and I was like, yeah, I'm the only cue card company in town, basically. So if someone comes to town and they need cue cards, or they're thinking about getting cue cards, they have to come to me. So I would get a lot of offers, like, yeah, in the summer when I was off in the summer when there was no Seth. And yeah, I'd get, like, we do the parade, we do the Macy's parade. We do shows on New Year's Eve in Times Square. We don't do them anymore. We did the ones in Miami lately, because Lauren produces the Miley Cyrus ones.
Yeah.
Lauren produced those. So I did those. Yeah, it's things like that,
So my big takeaway from all that is that there's a cue card cartel that you're in charge of.
Pretty much.
No one else can come in and do it, huh?
I mean, they could try, but I own all the cue card workers, so good luck. Good luck with that.
So you got a full staff, right? You got a full staff at any time doing
15,
a bunch of projects.
15 workers, 15 people, guys and girls working for me. And yeah, I mean, it's something that, again, I didn't set out to have a company. It's just something that turned into this opportunity, and I was really good at it. And it's my career now. It's what I'm known for.
I love that, because you never know where life's gonna take you, and here you are. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
People are like this. People, I tell them what I do, like, that's a job, that's a thing.
It's not just a job; it's a whole business. And
I say I have the biggest cue card company in the world, in the country. Biggest cue card company in the country, and people are like, well, you could say the world, because there's not really big cue card companies in other. And I was like, yeah, that seems, even for my ego, that seems really hard.
We'll say it for you.
You guys can say it, sure.
Yeah. We'll redo the intro and introduce you as the running the world's largest cue card company.
Yeah.
You also run a side business, a cue card business. So Brian mentioned this, that during COVID, you started selling cue cards directly.
Personalized cue cards. Now, there's like 2 really good snap decisions in this story. And it's not ones that I made. It's one that my business wife made, that you guys know, Deborah Ferriston. A year before, 2019.
She's brilliant woman.
I came up with this idea. I had the idea to do personalized cue cards for people. I was thinking about it one night, and I remember walking into the kitchen, and she was sitting doing something, probably work. And I told her, I get this idea for this company. What do you think? And I told her the idea. And within 3 seconds, she said, nope, not the time for it. It's not going to work. Go away. And it was like that. I swear it was that quick. And whether it was, I don't know what she based her decision on, probably based it on that I was already working a lot, and she knows me and don't like to do work. She maybe that was part of the decision. Whatever it was quick. And I didn't challenge her on it, because she knows her stuff. A year later, COVID's here. It's probably 3 months into COVID. I think it was like May. And I've been doing nothing. I'm sitting on the couch gaining weight, not doing anything. And she's watching a show, and she said, I think I need to start a new company. And I was like, hey, what about that Cue Cards by Wally thing, that personalized cue card? And again, snap decision. Yes. Now's the time to do it. People
just as fast as that now, right?
Yeah, it was really fast again. And she was like, yes, now's the time to do it. People can't go to weddings. They can't go to, birthdays. This is perfect. So again, even though I wasn't working, I didn't want to do a lot of work. So it took a couple of weeks for her to figure out. And she came up with, I know you guys will know this, MVP, minimal viable product.
Yeah.
I was like, she's like, get a Venmo account and get an Instagram account and go. And that's what I did. That was easy. And then it took off. I got some press within like 2 weeks of opening, and it was on its way. And she, again, was right again. So really smart snap decisions by her from her business. All the stuff she learned in business,
Yeah.
So I hadn't thought of this before, but now I know I'm going to get Brian for his birthday. I'm going to get him a personal handwritten cue card by Wally.
They're fantastic.
It's going to say something nasty, but it will be from you.
So she used her business acumen and knowing her husband to say no, and then to say yes. Now's the time.
Timing's everything.
A true marketer, assessing the market, predicting when things are ripe for opportunity. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. It was really, really smart, and that was something that I didn't expect to to bring me so much joy. I thought it was just something to keep me busy, but it was the feedback I was getting from people that they couldn't go to a birthday party or an anniversary, and that they were giving this original gift that went over really well, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic." Was kept money coming in and just kept me happy, you know, and it made me feel like I was doing something to bring joy to people during this pandemic that we all suffered through. You know, it was really, really fun, and it just, you know, made me feel really good about what I do, you know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Does anyone ever pay you to come do an event like that's not like a recorded, not a professionally produced thing, but like
That's
come to a
the
wedding?
next business we're
All right.
launching.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to spoil anything. Are we breaking
No,
news here?
No, we're doing research. I'm very, very slowly, but doing research on, like, I speak at a lot of colleges, like, for free. I'll go to like the colleges that my kids went to, but also local colleges like Montclair State I've been to with friends of my sons that go there. And I'll go and speak to classes or groups of people. And I get a lot of really, really good feedback from that. I get a lot of good stories, and I give out cue cards, and they have a great time. So yeah, so we're looking into that down the road as another income stream when I get closer to maybe not doing as much cue cards, but going and speaking to colleges. Or, you know, she thinks I would do well at businesses. I don't know if I would do as well with you guys would know, like a company thing. I just don't know if that's my audience. You know, maybe some of them would be my audience, but not all of them, you know.
I think you could figure it out.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. I think you could.
There's something there.
Yeah.
There's definitely something there. And I think colleges would be really fun. And yeah, I don't know, you know, that's going to be the next step. The next thing, you know, speaking things with a whole presentation and fun thing. Yeah.
What was your reaction to being on camera? You know, I know that it started a year or two into when you were in SNL, but like, is that, I mean, that's got to be like icing on the cake. But how nervous were you in those types of situations? And it's got to be so much fun.
It's, you know, I was an actor. I did acting in high school. I always wanted to be a writer. I liked being on camera, but it wasn't my focus. So anytime SNL said, "Hey, we put you in the monologue, we put you in the cold open," it was fantastic. It was really fun. And I get to, you know, you have enough time to rehearse. Even though it's SNL, you have time to rehearse. And then when Seth started doing it more and more and more, I think I was nervous at first, and I don't think I was great, but the more and more I did it, the more and more I would relax about it. Because the thing is, sometimes I won't know I'm on camera until an hour before the show starts. We'll get a closer look at 2:30. I start printing it. I see I'm in it. So as I'm printing it, I'm trying to learn my lines. Or
So wait, they write you into it and you don't even know?
No, I have no idea
amazing.
until I get the script, you know, an hour and a half before the show, while I have to print the script. So I don't really have time to be nervous. I just kind of like take it, like, and it's fun. Like, Seth has the confidence to put me in it and keep on putting me into it and let me add. I'm mic'd every day, whether I'm in the show or not. We had a mistake. We had a misspelled word, Pennsylvania, we misspelled on a monologue joke. And he called me out on it, and then called himself on it, because he's like, "I read this during rehearsal and I didn't see it." And we just started talking about it in the process of what happened. And it was really funny. And it was, you know, really good. So they feel free with letting me ad lib something like this. And it feels fun, you know.
I love when they had you look like George Santos.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I'm very upset. I was going to text the writer to see if I could, you know, have a reference to me, or at least play him one more time, you know, when he was ousted. But it didn't happen.
That was a good one, though.
That was fun.
So as you get more and more on camera time, especially on Seth, like you just said, and you've got kind of some celebrity status.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to make decisions like how to walk that line between being behind the camera and in front of the camera? What is that? Or is it just like kind of thrown upon you and you just go with it?
It's trying to keep my ego, you know, so that smaller, so that I don't annoy my coworkers, my wife.
Well, that's what your wife is for, to keep your ego in check.
Anybody around me. And it's harder and harder. Like, you know, like I said, I did that Ryan Reynolds commercial. He put me in Instagram post last week. I don't know if you saw it. There were leaked photos from the set of his superhero movie. So they're shooting Deadpool 3. And I guess a cameraman with a big lens got shots of set and leaked them to some websites. So he, 2 days after, leaked his own on-set photos, but they were Photoshop, really bad Photoshop, like Mickey Mouse was in one and Urkel was in the background of another one. And then he put me in one holding a card that said, "Wally, put the cards down," that he Photoshopped in from SNL. Now, I think he did it because the commercial we worked on released the day before this happened. That is crazy. Seth Meyers was calling me. He was like, "Did you see what Ryan Reynolds posted?" My brother was calling me from Hollywood saying, "What's going on with this?" Like it was really, so when things like that start happening, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
really,
I love that your brother who wrote for Seinfeld
Yes,
is
my brother
now
who-
jealous of your celebrity status. That's
Oh,
fantastic.
no doubt. I could tell you the stories of hanging out with my brother at a cast party early on in my career, and Nicole Kidman hosted when she was still married to Tom Cruise. And we were hanging at the bar, and Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise walk in, and they're trying to get to the table. And Tom Cruise is like, "Hold on a second." And he did a beeline for me and came up, shook my hand. He's like, "Thanks so much for helping her out. You were fantastic tonight."
Oh,
My
wow.
brother's there with his mouth open going, "What is going on?"
Right.
So yeah.
And
Try
so
to
he
keep
was a receptionist first at Saturday Night Live, right?
Yeah,
Before he became a
He
writer.
worked, he worked his way up. I
I
try to
thought,
keep
not Tom Cruise, your brother.
No.
Just to be clear.
No, my brother. I try to keep that stuff in check. Like I said, it's really cool to hear that stuff. And I have celebrities coming up and telling me they watch me on the show and they think I'm really funny. Like John Hamm, I know from SNL, but he was like, "You're so funny in the show." That kind of blows me away when I hear celebrities telling me that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I try to keep it in check and I try to say, okay, it's the fun part of the job, but I'm still doing cue cards. I'm still going to focus on that and not screw that. I
Well,
can't let go.
it's good because when you look at your team, you know how they need to be acting. So you're
Yes.
able to see it
Yes,
for
I
them.
have to balance. It is a balance,
Yeah.
though. I do have to balance it. I can think about it when the show's over, but when the show's going on, I'm focused on doing cue cards unless I'm in something, for that moment, because you have to be focused to do that job.
Well, you've had some nice moments to shine in the spotlight, but it sounds like also from your description that sometimes you're kind of working in the bowels of Studio 8H, writing for hours. So I get that could be kind of the non-glamorous side. Curious to hear, you don't have to name names, but please do. Like any of really unpleasant cast members or guests, like any stories around like just a crappy situation regarding talent.
Cast members, no, and it's the people that you would imagine were not nice. Like George Steinbrenner when he comes down.
Okay, name names.
He's not going to be a pleasant guy. It's people like that. I will say, Donald Trump wasn't the worst when he was. This is before politics. He was just a reality host and a real estate guy, and he was fine. He wasn't good, but he was fine. Usually, it's not the non-actors, that come in. The Elon Musks will come in and people like that aren't used to this kind of thing, so they don't know how to act.
Different environment for them. Yeah.
They're not to act on camera. They don't know how to act off camera kind of thing. But I would say 97% of the people are really nice because they need me. I'm helping them out, so they're not going to be mean to me or a jerk to me because I'm there to help them,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was your favorite cast era?
Well, they say it's when you started watching, right? That's what they say. Whatever you were watching, or when you were a teenager, I think when you were a teenager, that's probably your favorite. So, I started watching when I was 10, when the show started. So, the original cast really is how I grew to love the show. I don't remember a lot when they left. So I think I stopped watching that Eddie Murphy years, Billy Crystal. I don't remember watching a lot, but I was probably in high school, probably going out a lot on Saturdays. And did we have VCRs in the early
Barely,
80s?
right? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, not
Early
everyone
80s.
had them, but
Yeah. So it's the first cast. And then when I started working, I started working with Adam Sandler and Chris Farley and those guys and David Spade. So, that's my second favorite when I started with those guys,
Really putting him on the spot there, Brian. he's got to work with these people,
Yeah, they know.
And I'm guessing the cast is listening.
Maybe.
Current cast, yeah.
They're not here right now, but
no, but they will be listening eventually.
Yeah.
When you came in, when you started SNL, did you always see that as kind of like I'm going to be here for a couple of years and I'm going to go do something else, and see that as what point did you realize that this is where I'm going to be for a long time?
I'm going to be stuck there for 33 years. Yeah, I wanted to be a writer. So I don't know if we covered that. I went to school, went to Syracuse for writing, and I wanted to be a writer. So I took the job to get my foot in the door, and I did. I made contacts. I started writing jokes for Norm MacDonald and Weekend Update immediately. And then I got hired to do some stuff for Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and MTV. And I was writing episodes of things here and there, nothing to pay the bills. It was just like $500 here, $800 there.
But you were actually a writer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was hired to write. I was doing that. So I was doing the cue cards to keep, the money coming in. But I really, really wanted to write. So I took 4 months off. I left the show one year. My buddy took over, and I think I had just got married. So I think my wife was maybe a little of that. So like, well, if you want to write, why don't you take
Just go and do it. Yeah.
I went out to LA with my brother. My brother set me up with an agent, and I took like a bunch of meetings, people at production companies, and I pitched them ideas and, introduced myself kind of thing. I did that for like 3 months, like going out, flying out and doing that, and nothing came of it. And she said, okay, you don't have to give it up, but we need some money. We need some money coming in. Her Citibank salary was not going to pay for us living in the city. So I went back to help out. And in the meantime, while I was gone in those 4 months, my buddy, who I knew, he was good at doing cue cards. But again, like I said, it took me 3 years to get the hang of running the thing. He was nowhere close to knowing how to run it, and they were missing me big time. At the end of the season, he decided to move to LA, and the show said we want Wally back to run it, and I was like, well, I don't know, and they were like, whatever you want, whatever.
The leverage, right?
I had serious leverage because they saw what life was like without me, and they didn't like it. So I went back. I named my salary. I said, I want to make this, I want to do this, and I wanted to write sketches. And they said, okay, we'll agree to all that. They paid me what I wanted. It was the first year of the Will Ferrell, all those guys. It was the whole cast came in at the same time, and all writers too. They said, let us have the first 3 months to get like our feel, and then we'll let you start submitting sketches. And they did. In January, they went to me and said, okay, you can submit a sketch to every show, one sketch to every show.
Oh,
Started writing sketches. And
Wow.
I almost got the first one I submitted, almost got on. It was in the show like 4 or 5 times. It was out, it was in, it was out, it was in. And word came back from Lauren. Lauren loved it. He was like, you could keep on writing. And that was like a good boost. I was like, this is really nice. And they were trying to figure out if I did get one on, I'm not in the Writers Guild. How are they going to pay me? What am I going to do? There was all this talk about that. And I did it for 3 weeks. I didn't get a sketch on, but I was really close, and they were really liking my stuff. And then a guy in props who'd been there for 20 years, longer than me, went up to them and said, hey, why is Wally allowed to write sketches?
Oh, yeah.
I want to write a sketch too. And then they were like, all right, we can't let Wally write sketches anymore. And that guy is my mortal enemy. He doesn't work on the show anymore, but he ruined it. Yeah, he's like, okay, you can't do it.
Sucks.
I know it did, but it was a good feeling. And then again, I was getting to the point where I think I started the company in 2004 because we were being treated pretty badly. And again, Deb making the decision, I got her the numbers. She ran the numbers. She did a business plan, which I didn't know what that was. And she was like, yeah, we can make some money. We can move to a better town, get a bigger house. I go, I just want a sports car. You can have a sports car. I'm like, okay, hey, let's do it. So we started the company, and it's 19. We've had it for 19 years now, running pretty well. So
Fantastic. So you got a couple of decisions there. One was to not stay in LA and keep writing, and then to start your own company. Those are big decisions that kind of got you to be the king of cue cards.
Yeah.
What if those decisions had been different and you'd kind of gone down the writing track? Do you think that would have been as fulfilling?
I talk about it all the time. No, I think because I see my brother who's doing that. My brother's a very successful writer, but I think the experiences I have and continue to have as a cue card guy would far outweigh anything that I would have had as a writer, even if I was writing great movies or really funny movies. I'm meeting these people and getting this relationship with them and this thing that no one else has, and it's fantastic. It's really,
like maybe
really
you would have got 5 good years and then you might not have had
some hit movies and maybe I've been able to live off that. But this is so much fun, and I've got a really cool reputation. A friend of mine like 2 years ago said I googled cue cards and your picture came up. And I was like, going, oh, that's cool. That's kind of cool.
Well, hearing you talk about those connections and those relationships, and hearing the people you're connecting with talk about their relationship with you, clearly you're doing something right. So
yes, well, thank you, man. I try. Yeah, it's really fun, and yes, when I get that feedback from people like Alec Baldwin and stuff, it's really, really, really meaningful. Really great.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you taking some time and talking to us. We love hearing your story. We love
great stuff,
everything about it, and it's not marketing, but it is, and it's there's a lot of crossovers here, and it's great. So thank you.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. No, I've done sometimes. I have a friend that's in the business world, and I've gone and talked to his group, and they've asked me questions and stuff like that. And a lot of it's really relatable to what you guys do. I'm managing employees, but it's a different kind of thing, but it's the same. It's the same kind of things. It's communication and it's trust, and it's, the communication thing I think is probably one of the most important things. You guys,
it's everything.
It really is all this.
Huge. Yeah. And when stuff isn't going well, a lot of times it's a communication breakdown.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate
it,
you guys having me.
No matter
yeah,
what
no, thank you.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was great to see you. Great talking to you, and thanks so much for sharing your stories.
You guys too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Wow, John, that was a great guest. It's great talking to Wally.
Yeah, what cool stories he has.
Yeah, it's second to none, really.
It's fascinating to hear not only the stories that he has from these iconic TV shows, but and you think about it's him because he's on camera an awful lot, but the fact that there's a whole team that he is just orchestrating to bring all this content to life live every single week is just really cool.
Yeah, and it seems like it doesn't get old for him either. He just loves it. So
Yeah.
good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
All right,
Well,
well, to close us out here, do you have a dear, hopelessly unattainable guest for us?
yes, I got one to wrap it up here. And, I was thinking long and hard about how we're going to get somebody on here that is one of our moonshots. And so I decided to take a little bit of a different approach on this one.
Ooh.
And so who I am trying to attract this time is none other than Tom Hanks.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Wow, big name. That
big
a
name.
true A-lister.
True A-lister, top actor of our generation. So here we go. All right, let's get after it.
Moon shoot away.
Dear Tom, we are a new-ish podcast that really focuses on the hard and tough choices professionals make that lead to their inevitable success. While we love to hear about the highest of the highs and occasionally talk about the lowest of the lows, I'd love for you to join our show to only talk about your lows. You have a magnificent career parallel to almost no one, including giant consecutive hits in the 90s in Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, and Apollo 13. Your sweethearted rom-coms with Meg Ryan. Your portrayal of legends like Walt Disney, Mr. Rogers, Colonel Tom Parker, and Ben Bradley. I want to hear about whether you have a floor piano like you danced on in Big, or what it was like to work with and know Steven Spielberg. But I'm willing to give it all up and sacrifice all those fun conversations to dig into your rock bottom moves like Joe versus the volcano and the bonfire of the vanities. You're my favorite guest ever on Saturday Night Live. You're so likable and make it look all too easy, especially in the legendary skits like David S. Pumpkins and the Mr. Belvedere fan club. But what the heck happened with the movie Larry Crown? Let's focus on those struggles. And I'm sure there's others I can't think of. And the agony and stress it brought upon your career and so much more on an episode of Snap Decisions. It's the thing that we do. Behind the Curtain with Tom Hanks. I can't wait, and I have a feeling you can't either. Sincerely, Brian and John.
I'm not sure what you put my name on that one.
We're in this
Brian,
together, man. We're in this together.
I feel like you really embraced the unattainable portion of the dear, hopelessly unattainable guest who we are offering an unattainably impossible collection of questions for. Tell us about how horrible things have been for you at some time.
I mean, I think that it could be a short episode, so maybe that'll track them. We only want to talk to you for 45 seconds because there's not very many lows for you.
That's a good point. There's not a lot of conversation around things that haven't gone well for Tom Hanks because that guy seems to spin most things into gold.
He sure does. He sure does.
All right. Well, we know somebody who knows him. I don't know what kind of relationship Wally has with him, but we can start there.
We should have said something.
Let's call him back. All right. Well, let's call it a wrap, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's close it up.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining. Next time we will we'll be even better prepared because we'll have cue cards in front of us.
One more thing, John. Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
2024.
I'm going to go work on my resolutions now.
I'm already done mine. Goodbye.
See ya.